game ends up going the distance here, simply Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerdlings of all ages, welcome back. This is Game 3. We're hopping in mid-series of a semi-final of the Go for SE2 Sunday Cup. The series is tied up at 1-1, and map number 3 on Deadwing will decide who goes through to play in today's final. Spawning over here in the bottom left-hand position of Deadwing as the Blue Terran player playing for TCM Gaming. It's Korean Monster. It's YoDa. And YoDa's facing off against one of the long-time standing online cup European players who's actually done ridiculously well today. He's either going to make it to the finals or bow out at this point, but he's managed to even to score 1-1. Can he go one step further? Representing Imaginary Gaming, it's TargaSo this is all pretty cool. Targa just going to be going for a normal pool before grabbing his hatchery here. YoDa, in the meantime, going up to his barracks. He has actually completed his gas, so he'll be going for potentially a quick Reaper here. We'll be keeping an eye out on that. However, based on this map architecture, if you take a look, you can only really hop up here. It might well be good enough for him. You can actually hop up at the back rocks as well, so it's looking potentially likely that something like that could happen. And well, YoDa, I mean, he won the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship when I was casting there. Just a great player. Very, very solid. There's the Reaper coming out, by the way. And Targa, in the meantime, he's one of those players that I want to say has always been there or thereabouts, and doesn't sort of go, wow, this guy's about to win DreamHack or anything like that. But I actually feel like his stock's been constantly increasing over the last couple of months. He's just been a little bit more high profile. He's been doing a little bit better on average in all these online cups. He's just been getting stronger and stronger. He's a lovely guy, and his work ethic, you can't actually argue with that as well. So it's great to see his results on the up. Now we've got this Reaper moving out across the map. Let me actually try and select at that time. A little bit of an observing fail there. Well, better get it over with in the first couple minutes of the game. Is going to be moving immediately cross map to check out his opponent here. We'll be able to see that the natural expansion, not quite done yet, but will just about be done. There we go. And I won't actually get spotted until it pops into the main base. So all good. And you're actually keeping this Reaper there for future reference as well, wanting to see at what point Targa starts taking more gases, when he's going to be committing to some sort of tech. Really just trying to get an eye out on what's going on here. In the meantime, we've got a couple of Zerglings just harassing, trying to stop this command center from going down. Will successfully delay it a little bit, and he's got one Zergling actually moving away until the Reaper... Oh, so good. YoDa knows that there was a Zergling there hidden to try and come back and snipe the SCV, and now the SCV is going to be able to continue building the command center on the low ground. We've got some Hellions coming in from YoDa now as well, so those buildings are just going to be swapped, and an immediate third command center. So very, very quick 3cc coming out of here from YoDa. Of course, Deadwing cross map is a pretty big spawning distance as well. It just takes a while to get across the map to try and attack that. Now, when is Targa actually going to find out that this is the case, though? He spots the natural expansion, but he needs to go into the main base and also spot that the third CC is going on. He'll probably want to take his own third base very, very quickly after scouting that as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. And oh, he's actually going for... Wow. Managing to just about thwart the... oh no! He cancelled them just slightly too early, and the Reaper managed to get one more. Two Reapers getting into the base, forcing two Spore Crawlers to come up. Just for a second, I looked at the tab and went, hang on. Banshees don't arrive this early. And realized the Reapers were busy having a go. So good defense there from Targa, not quite good enough to prevent no drone losses. The worker count's currently 29 through to 27, and only a single worker has been killed this game from YoDa. So no catastrophic levels of damage, and the third CC, by the way, has just been comfortably spotted, which is why Targa's now taking a third of his own towards the center of the map. Of course, this base... potentially slightly more sheltered, depending on how you look at it, but both have pretty big ramps. In fact, actually, no, I take that back. This might have a slightly smaller ramp and easier to spread creep. And but you have got the back rocks there as well, so just something to keep in mind. So you'll be able to comfortably take that as a fourth base and spread creep down and really make his main defense this choke point here. And we've got 2 Hellions, just the 1 Reaper out on the map so far from YoDa. Really nothing out of the ordinary, Jesse. He's actually going pretty greedy behind us. We've got the double engineering bay coming down now inside the main base as well. So YoDa really setting himself up to go very, very upgrade heavy and basically hit in the late game rather than now. We've got more Hellions coming in here, managing to roast a queen, actually, of all things. And Targa does not want to afford to do this right now. A second queen looking like it might come in, and oh my goodness, are we going to get a full surround on these Hellions? Yes, we do. One of them manages to escape off to the top left-hand corner, but that was a really nice surround. It's so dangerous surrounding Hellions with Zerglings because you always think to yourself, hang on just a second. You know, these Hellions could just roast me to Kingdom Come. Why am I trying to surround them? But when you do pull it off, it's great. We've got a full wall off over here. But looks like, oh no, the bunker's going to go down and a lot of Zerglings. Now, if he gets a second surround on all these Hellions, this could be disastrous for YoDa. The Zergling counterattack is currently doing a decent amount of damage. Are they going to be able to kill off enough of these units to make themselves worthwhile, though? There's still 4 or 5 Hellions surviving out in the back here. We're picking off a couple of SCVs. Let's take a quick look at the number of workers killed. It's 10-1 right now. YoDa currently at 50 supply versus the 69 of Targa. Yes, that counterattack paid for itself. Very, very well done there. And it's always so difficult when you're going up against Hellions with Zerglings. You just wonder to yourself, well, either I kill them and surround them, or they just roast me before I even lay a finger on them. So Targa having to make that split-second choice, and not just in defense, but in the corresponding attack afterwards as well, doing a tremendous job. And now he's in a vaguely comfortable position. He doesn't really have units left, though, to go for a second wave of attack. And I feel this is important, because YoDa did go for that early third CC. So even though he lost 10 workers there, he's going to be able to get them back pretty quickly. And he did go for that double engineering bay for those double upgrades. So YoDa's still going to be able to hit back hard. It's definitely not like, oh my goodness, that was close to a killing blow, or anything of the sort. 3 CCs were already down. That's a lot of mules, a lot of SCVs being produced. So Targa not quite using a follow-up just yet. We've got a couple of Hellions moving back out here. And trying to pick off... If he's not careful, he can pick off 2 of these queens, actually. There were no transfuses available on these queens right now. So YoDa does have to be slightly wary of that. But by the looks of things, he will be repelled. Layer now about to complete for Targa. He's going up to 6 gases. So, and look at how well these upgrades are lining up, actually. Basically, to the second, they're going to be finishing for YoDa. Third base now comfortably up and mining, and he's just going to start the process of walling himself in. Already got a bunker down. Targa doesn't look like he's trying to attack anytime soon, though. He's going to be going up to the spire, and I feel like this lack of harassment here is making YoDa, I don't know, it's making him a little bit comfortable, which is good for YoDa, of course. Targa has got the macro hatch, so let's find out what the timing is going to be on his next aggressive move. But right now, it looks like both sides are settling into a mid-game after having a bit of dicing at the beginning and going, okay, yep, I see what you're doing here. Yes, I think you won that battle, but I'm going to win this one, etc., etc. And now we're settling into some sort of rhythm. YoDa's doing little other than holding the watchtower at this point, just making sure that there isn't sort of big attack coming out from Targa. Targa, in the meantime, well, he's got 18 lings popping in. Wow, that scan was pretty good there. YoDa spots those lings coming out, and he's gone, well, hang on a second, that's a decent number of Zerglings. I get the feeling in the next minute or two I might have to do a little bit of defending here. So he's going to be on the lookout. He's going to be a little bit wary, possibly taking a peek at the watchtower at some point soon. And wow, we've actually got the upgrades for Targa now lining up quite nicely. 1-1 and Baneling Speed both completing at the same time. So as long as he's defending on creep, it looks like he's going to have a reasonable time, actually. Defending against this potential push from YoDa. Here come the Hellbats. They're coming along with Marines, so it's not going to be trivial by any stretch of the imagination, because Hellbats are just pretty fierce. There are only 2 medevacs with this army, though. And while medevacs can heal, and that's really scary, only 2 medevacs with this many units, they can't heal everything at once. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. He's just trying to base out Targa's army so we can see what Targa's got here. And I think YoDa knows he can't actually push too far onto creep right now. He spotted a few of the units, and he's got actually... I'm not sure I can take this on right now, and I would agree with that. At least not on creep, anyway. More and more Banelings being morphed in for Targa. So the Targa Banes, of course, a staple of this tournament and of Targa's play in general. And YoDa really just trying to put on some pressure waiting for the 2-2 to complete. It's actually very close to completion right now. It's about 10 in-game seconds. There we go. You can see that happening right there. Going to add a couple of Widow Mines into this composition. It looks like the middle of the map is actually going to be the staging ground for most of this game's attacks. Now, these mutas, maybe they can actually do a little bit of harassment once the first fight is over here. We'll be keeping an eye on them. If he can fly them around and pick off a couple of workers, that'd be great for TargaStar. 10 more Lings, 10 more mutas, 10 more Banelings and more mutas coming along for him as well. 2-2 only about halfway done though, so the upgrade advantage definitely lying with YoDa for this, but he is also on creep. He's now scanning and moving forward. Is this going to be the time for TargaStar to move out? He's coming in with the Banelings and the Mutalisks, but still only just a little bit of a poke and prod. If he can peek off a medevac, he will. If he can't, it's not going to matter, and he's decided, hang on a second, let me just take the watchtower and see what I can do from here. YoDa saying, well, that's actually quite a good move, so I'm not going to let you do that. And I'm still going to sit here until my army gets bigger and bigger and bigger. A drop now being loaded up for YoDa, moving out towards the top side of the map here. So let's keep an eye on how much damage that ends up doing. In the meantime, 3-3 already started. This is what I was talking about, that early third CC, and those immediate engineering bays means that these upgrades are just going to come so quick for our Terran player here. TargaStar is also going to get dropped behind this as well, but will he be able to defend? He's just poking and prodding away at the edge of creep as YoDa right now. He's actually just not moving in, and I think that's because he knows that his upgrades are just constantly ahead of his opponent. So, he's in fact first going to be aggressive here. Wow, a couple of Banelings actually just going off on a Marauder or two and a bunch of Hellbats. Not the greatest engagement there, but we have got the drop now moving out towards the top of the map. A counterattack coming in from TargaStar off to the left-hand side is not really going to bear fruit. A lot of those Banelings go down for no reason here. YoDa didn't even have to split. All he had to do was kite those backwards, and TargaStar not having the best of times right now at this beginning engagement. I feel like his army's a little bit... well, to be honest, just a little bit fragmented at the moment. Ooh, very nice hit with the Widow Mine there, and that could actually prove to be a bit of a problem. He's got an Enduring Locust on the way from the Infestation Pit, but now YoDa's moving further onto creep. He's got some Widow Mines planted down, and he's saying, right, this is the stand I am going to make, and here come the TargaStar Banes. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of units. He's ignoring the Thor like he should. Says that as a couple of units go off on it. And TargaStar just comfortably moving back. That's a lot of Banelings he's still got. He basically needs to surround those Thor with Zerglings, and then use the Banelings for everything else. He's got Swarmhost coming out now, though. He's at 189 supply versus the 199 for YoDa, so both sides essentially maxed out. 13 Swarmhosts on the way for the Zerg player right now. And, oh wow, actually the Spore Crawler picking off a medevac there almost. That could have been pretty big. Unfortunately, the medevac was able to survive. YoDa now trying to move in on the low ground, still not fully committing. He's staying very close to the edge of creep here. He knows that the Zerg player, if he swarms and surrounds him, could be absolutely disastrous news. Another drop coming in, though, now towards a third base location, and TargaStar is going to have to make a stand soon. He's moved back, but realistically, he doesn't... he can't afford to do this forever. I mean, he's losing this base. This fourth base is only just completing now. He doesn't really want that hatchery to go down. So he's going to have to try and think of a good way here to engage this army. It looks like he's going down via the ramp now. Here we go. A lot of Banelings coming in. Those Thors doing a lot of damage to the Mutalisks actually on the ground. And the Mutas just aren't able to get in. But will the Swarmhost be able to make up for these numbers? I don't know. The Locusts are spawning now, but there's a decent amount of bio still left. Is it going to be enough? Is YoDa getting pushed back here? It looks like he is for now. And the Widow Mines on the Locusts, well, they actually do quite a good job. But there are enough Swarmhosts here now that the army size for YoDa is now starting to very slowly dwindle. That was a really close fight. I think YoDa was really close to being able to stim in and do a scan on top of this Swarmhost. But TargaStar has just done enough to hold off for now. That was pretty intense. And then, really, this is now a situation where the longer this goes on in the status quo here, the more units YoDa is going to lose. So he can't really afford to just sit here and fight indefinitely, which is why he's loading up drops and trying to do more dynamic things. Don't blame him for it at all. We need to see some Zerglings and Banelings maybe pop up here. It doesn't look like that's going to do too much damage. I'd love to see the Zerglings and Banelings pop downstairs with the Swarm Host and just let the drop be the last units he cleans up. But it doesn't look like that's what's going to happen at the moment. YoDa continuing to sustain this pressure on 200, 200. 3-3, of course, is complete now, by the way. He's nearly finished with his +2 vehicle weapons upgrade as well. So this sustained pressure from YoDa is very, very impressive at this point. But TargaStar isn't out of this yet. In fact, he's holding quite well at the mo. The question is... can he continue mining from this third base? He needs to repel this to mine, and it looks like this hatch is about to go down as well. He really needs to move with the Swarm Host together with the Zerglings and Banelings to try and get some damage done, because he can't just afford to let drop after drop pick up this base, and that's exactly what's going to happen now. I think this third base is actually toast at this point. He can't really save that. It's 3 hit points, and there we go. So, YoDa basically being given enough time to do this here, and actually as soon as that hatchery goes down, YoDa's happy to move out, because he knows he can take a step back here, knowing that actually that's 1 mining base less for my opponent. In the meantime, I'm busy expanding. You can see I've got bases here, I've got bases here, I've got more command centers here. He's basically going into mass orbital command right now, and as long as he can limit the number of bases of his opponent, he doesn't have to win the game right here, right now. And that's a really important point for our Terran player. Really good at just limiting the Zerg and patiently waiting until you're so far ahead in terms of economy that you can afford to trade non-stop, and you basically end up becoming quote-unquote the Zerg of the situation, where you can just continuously trade evenly and still come out on top at the end of the game. TargaStar doesn't want this base on the right-hand side to go down, and he faces a very difficult decision right now. He needs to either engage this or counterattack. And, well, he's trying to counterattack with these Mutalisks. It looks like this missile turret's going to go down, and decent number of workers go down initially. I want to say that's 3, and 3 more on such red health. But it's not going to quite be enough to repel it. And the Swarm Hosts here, well, I'm not sure they're enough to repel this force. There are a lot of Marauders, there are a lot of Thors with this army composition, and the Marines providing just so much DPS off of the back of it, that I actually think TargaStar needs everything he's got here. If this base goes down as well, TargaStar is going to be so limited in terms of funding, and it looks like that's exactly what's about to happen. Transfuses against the hatchery as well from the Queen to try and stop it from going down. It's just above half health right now. The Swarmer is still continuing to do a decent amount of damage, but with 3-3, I mean, it just takes so long for stuff to die in the Terran army right now. I think YoDa's finally being forced back. Here come the Banelings, and yeah, that is going to spell the end of that. So TargaStar well held there. Really had us biting our teeth, to be perfectly honest. Biting my tongue almost, worrying if that hatchery was going to go down, but he just about manages to save it in the end. 3 Widow Mines actually still comfortably here for YoDa. And, oh dear. Yep. We all saw that one coming. Alright. More units being loaded up just to try and get them away from the Swarm House here. And TargaStar at the moment is playing just fine. He's consolidated his position. He's gone from a position where if he lost this space, he was in danger of just losing the game outright, to holding this space and retaking this one. So he's doing okay, but we may want to consider doing something a little bit more aggressive now. He needs to limit the expansion of his opponent. Look at this. YoDa actually expanding up to the 2 o'clock position right now. So he's taking bases left, right, and center. TargaStar's defended really well, and now he has to try and turn this situation around and try and limit the mining of his opponent as well. I'm not 100% certain he's going to be able to do it immediately because of this push onto creep. We'll keep an eye on it. It looks like YoDa's actually going back to defend here. So maybe he can. These Thors actually getting taken down. There's a decent number of Banelings coming out, and these Banelings might be able to pick off a bunch of these SCVs. Is that what he's going to do here? It looks like he's just moving towards the Planetary Fortress. And, well, about 6 of them going off at once there. Needs to be very careful. That wasn't actually the most cost-effective trade I've ever seen. But he does manage to get some damage done, and the Mutalisks are still continuing to wreak havoc here in the natural expansion. Number of workers killed in the last couple of seconds, 10 and counting, so that's not too bad. And YoDa's decided, right, I need to go for a counterattack here. Are these Swarm Hosts going to be enough to defend against it? We'll find out. And yes, he is moving against the bio. And the reason why this is good, guys, is because TargaStar might as well just engage as far away from the Swarm Hosts as he can, because that's just free damage against the enemy here. I mean, why the heck not? We have a drop that's been loaded up and immediately taken down by these Mutalisks. Actually, they're in numbers now where TargaStar is no longer afraid of these drops. And he's going to be able to clean that up, but the main battle is going to be fought down here. That's a big army from YoDa right now. +3 attack, range attack, and also we've got the +1 fly armor. Nearly complete, but the +3 attack's only halfway done right now for TargaStar. So he's got +3 armor already, at least. But the upgrades for YoDa still a little bit on his side in terms of advantage. And the Swarmers just continue to chip away at this army. The Medevacs have got enough energy at the moment to effectively negate that. Just the odd Marine here and there going down at the moment. Nothing major. And, well, YoDa can't let the Swarm Host be attacked like that. He has to try and move in. I'm not sure he wanted to do it there. I think he needs to wait until YoDa threatens to get on top of them and just buy himself as much time as possible, because more and more units are basically going down for free from the Terran at the moment. And, well, YoDa's going to be forced to move back. Now, YoDa did successfully do a bit of aggression there. But this base is still up. This base is still up. He hasn't actually taken out any bases. He's just put some pressure against them. So I wonder if he's going to be able to do that again. And here we go. We've got a decent chunk of his army. Looks like he's going to be moving out towards a softer target here. Maybe taking out this bunker. I like the look of that. There's a decent army here, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. If the mutas take out the Thor, the banelings can actually take out the rest here. And that's exactly what happens. Got a couple more banelings for good measure over here in the mineral line. It doesn't look like there's much to defend here for at least a couple more seconds. Those are some good hits. 12 more workers going down. And TvZ is actually doing a pretty good job here in this late mid-game. YoDa at the moment looking pretty uncomfortable. TvZ now being able to spread his creep a little bit more. I'd like to see him maybe take another base here. And as soon as I say that, take a look at this. He is about to. And generally, TvZ's playing like a boss right now. He had a couple of shaky moments earlier in the game, but that's not because he was bad. It's because YoDa was that darn good. And now he's stabilized, and YoDa's actually... he's not looking too comfortable with where he is. He's thinking, well, hang on a second, I should be making more ground with this. Why can't I just push forward? And TvZ's counterattacks have just pulled YoDa back every single time. He's going again for the right-hand side, and this time he's going to try and stop what will be the 6th base from going down. He does immediately cancel and runs away with the drone in the hopes of producing it again later. Has YoDa forgotten about it? TvZ not quite able to do it, unfortunately. That drone is going to go down. And this is a pretty good choke point for him. A really good choke point for him, actually. Even the Swarmers can't do very much to him here because these locals are just going to get clumped up and the tanks are just going to do so much damage against them. So this could be the way for YoDa to get into this game and really try and stick it to TvZ as much as possible. A whole bunch of banelings coming down now and exploding against that front line. But the choke point means that actually YoDa's doing reasonably well here. The Swarm Host can't do too much damage as well. So YoDa actually looking alright. The muta's trying to come in from behind. They are not going to be successful. And more Swarm Hosts and more banelings coming in. But most of the banelings explode long before they actually get to the army. What's left is mostly mech. You have a handful of Marines, 3 Thors, and a couple of tanks. So I feel like a flood of Lings should be able to finish this off. But YoDa actually picked a pretty good position there. Pretty good indeed. Now, where's his transition out of this? He's basically going into Marine tank. Non-stop Marine, Marauder, and tank production coming out from YoDa now. He's not going to go with the Thors anymore. They haven't been as effective as he would have liked. TvZ, in the meantime, he's actually just upgrading and going more of the same. He's got Zerglings, he's got Banelings, he's got Swarm Hosts. He's got Mutalisks as well. Number of Swarm Hosts on the field right now, guys. Where are we? There should be a decent number there, actually. Wow. 20 and counting. So there you go. Some of them actually in really random locations now that I think about it. YoDa now pushing out onto creep. Still engaging just a Swarm Host. And if he continues pushing a little bit further, that's going to be the point where TvZ has to go, well, I think it's time to push out now with my Banelings. It's getting pretty close to that. If these Locusts can take out the tanks as well, it's going to mean a lot less splash damage to deal with those Banelings, which is going to be great news for our Zerg player. YoDa trying his hardest to push in here, doing so much DPS, but the Swarm Hosts and the Locusts, don't forget, they're basically free, guys, so he is literally fighting against a force that just can't be beat unless he decides to move on to the source. So he can keep scanning in the same location, but really he needs to move forward and try and kill these Swarm Hosts there. Now more tanks are coming out. Now we've got Bailey. Oh, he really shouldn't be going in front of the Swarm Host there. I didn't like that at all from TvZ because it meant that the siege tanks could target the Banelings first. So I really don't think that was effective. But both sides are still surviving here. YoDa's actually staging a huge comeback. We have a couple of stray units picking off the right-hand side hatch here, and they will be able to be successful there. Ooh, have I spoke too soon? No, I haven't. Alright. That was pretty close, but that base does go down. And, well, that's going to be unfortunate for TvZ. YoDa now starting to get the upper hand in this game. This switch into tanks is proving really useful for him. We basically need the Mutalisks to do an awful lot of harassment here against the tanks to try and prevent him from losing this situation. But TvZ, he's got his Mutalisks on the other side of the map. He's killing missile turrets at the moment. That's all well and good, but these tanks are what's really destroying his position back home. So this worries me a little bit because Swarm Hosts alone are not going to be able to do it on their own in the long run. +3 attack now coming in for the Mutalisks, and that's great, but look at how close the Terran army is to the Swarm Hosts right now. Targa's seriously leaving this late, and those Banelings weren't very effective at all. We need to go with the Queens, with the Zerglings, with the Banelings all at once. Okay, he's doing that. He's decided to swarm this back. And look at how effective these tanks are. Imagine if there were Mutalisks right here, guys. That's basically what Targa needs right now. He is doing a decent amount of damage over here, but if he crushes the army, surely he would be happy. YoDa down to 154 supply. Targa still at 182. If we take a look at the income tab, number of workers beginning to get less relevant in this game. YoDa actually is mining comfortably more than Targa right now. And here we go. The Mutal is trying to pick off a couple of the tanks. Will successfully do so. We're coming in now with more Zerglings, more Banelings as well. That's basically what he needed to do beforehand. Better late than never. And Targa is going to stabilize at 178 supply though. And YoDa at the moment, he's not looking too comfortable, but at the same time, he's just constantly taking bases. He's now in Targa's... This is a pretty close base, guys. Targa... Does Targa know he's there? Of course he knows he's there. There's the Overlord. Targa should basically start taking bases out. I mean, YoDa's income is just constantly really good. And even though Targa's taking these amazing engagements, he can't resupply as fast. Oh, an excellent pick-off on a couple of those medevacs. That's 3 of them going down for free there. And Targa, well, I think he needs to group together now. Where are the swarm hosts? They are a little bit far away, to be perfectly honest. And these siege tanks occupy a really nice position, but I think the Mutas can come around here and really give the siege tanks a hard time if he wants to. This base, for the nth time in a row, is going to go down. I hope you guys aren't drinking shots every time a base goes down in this game, because that could be trouble. And in the meantime, everything seems to be ignored up north. We have the swarm host pushing through now, trying to pick off a couple of siege tanks. Still doing a good job with them is Targa. Needs to be careful with these queens, though. They could just get picked off super easy peasy. And it looks like Targa's now shifting his attention to this new planetary fortress on the top left-hand side, and rightfully so. Needs to make sure that that is not actually a threat to his game right now. And doesn't want YoDa to be mining from it at all. That's a decent number of mutas, by the way, guys. We should be approaching a point where he's pretty comfortable. 26 mutas, and no harm in getting more, I guess, if you can clump them up and get rid of the Thors in advance. And here comes another push onto creep from YoDa, so it looks like Targa's not going to be able to deal with that base in the top left just yet. He's got an army to take care of, guys. Oh man, how many units have actually been lost this game? It's so close. 46,000 versus 47,000. 38-minute game, and this is game number 3 to decide who gets to the final. This is pretty darn intense. And I don't know. Oh, here we go. That's a drop. This is one of the small things that might be making a difference between these players now. YoDa losing a lot of drones here, and the Muta's going to have to come and defend this. But hey, while they're coming to defend this, how many Mutas are attacking here? 0 is the answer. It looks like, though, the Swarmos are actually doing a pretty good job right now. So maybe that's going to be enough. The missile turrets seem to be getting one-shotted by the Mutas, and this planetary fortress is going down. So Targa all of a sudden making some good inroads into YoDa's position. Got some links coming back for a run by. YoDa threatening to go back and intercept them, which is why it's actually been ignored for now. A lot of work is actually going down in these bases, and Targa right now finally starting to limit the mining of YoDa. This is exactly what he needed to do. YoDa's army is now popping back here, so Targa will have to get out of dodge. And we have more army actually killing off this 11 o'clock base. So Targa right now, he's got the army he needs to do the things he wants to, but his swarm hosts are really, really far out of position, and he's basically just using his Mutalisk at the moment as his army. I'm not sure how much I like this. I mean, if YoDa just keeps trading like this, he has traditionally taken more bases than Targa. We've got the counterattack here with the Lynx and Banelings, and that's going to do really well, but the bases that have been mining recently are this one, which admittedly is now dead. Were previously this one. This one still has a couple of minerals left in it, so these bases are kind of dry. It's not quite as effective as you would think, although it's still putting Targa in an advantageous position. I think if he takes down one more base, he could be favored here now to just close the game out, because YoDa's income is starting to dwindle. It was up at about 1,700 before. It's getting down to just over 1,000 because he just dropped a bunch of mules. So I feel like if Targa focuses his efforts in picking off these siege tanks and then overrunning this base, he could actually... he might be able to end the game here, but I don't know if he's able to pop into that kind of position with these Mutalisks. Alright, he's going together with the Swarm Host now, so it looks like he has a vague idea. Let's see if he ends up doing that. Oh, he needs to be careful not to intercept the army. YoDa coming out for another stab here. And YoDa really has some money problems right now, and here comes Swarm Host. Oh dear. against this base, I think YoDa has to be very, very careful there. The Mutalisks looking like they're going to come in and try and finish this off as well. Here they come, picking off the missile turn. By the looks of things, they're going to try and pick off the Marines as well. That's a brave move by the Mutalisks, because to be honest, I want to keep as many of them alive for the final battle as possible. But both sides now going to be attacking each other. YoDa going to the right-hand side. He's down to 137 supply versus 175. And ooh, that's a lot of drones going down there for a target, but at the same time, this is one of the most important mining bases in the game right now, and this planetary fortress is for sure going down here. Nothing YoDa can do about it. Now, the question is if these swarm hosts stay alive long enough for all of Targa's army to meet up. Because really, at the end of the day, these armies need to meet each other. And Targa at the moment, he's basically abandoning bases. He's trying not, actually, to engage until his whole army is together. Where are the Mutalisks? He's just been keeping them separate all game long. And I'm not sure how much I agree with that, but he's, well, once again, at least denying a mining base. That orbital command is probably going to go down as well. But in the meantime, that's 2 bases on the right-hand side lost for Targa now. This is a pretty formidable army. YoDa still struggling, though. He doesn't have a lot of income. And really, it's the left-hand side that's been limiting his progress on the right. But he has taken out 2 hatcheries. Those weren't bad engagements for him at all. Ooh, and Targa might be turning the screw a little bit now, because he is looking after a lot of the production facilities here of YoDa. We're now at the 44-minute mark, and Targa is beginning to look like he might be able to take this game and progress to the finals of the Go for SC2 Cup. He's picking off all the add-ons on these buildings right now. And that's just going to limit the amount YoDa can resupply. He doesn't have the money to do it anyway. The point is those 2 were his 2 biggest mining bases. If we take a look at the income tab now, YoDa, yes, he's mining more than Targa, but he's mining 200 versus 80. And Targa's got a lot of swarm hosts on his side. So where are those swarm hosts? When is he going to try and be aggressive with them? He needs to try and whittle this army down now, because YoDa can no longer resupply the same way he used to. And that's going to be the big catch. YoDa, oh, nearly getting a ridiculous number of drones there, but Targa just about managing to escape into the corner. But 2 Marines spot them. Oh dear, these are definitely getting cornered. He's not going to like that at all. And the drones are going to surround the Marines, but at 3-3, they take forever and a day to die. So many of these drones go down. And unfortunately, the rest of the army is coming as well. Ooh, wow, just about escaping there. It's like, guys, we killed 2 Marines, now we have to run. And YoDa deciding that's not quite going to be worth it. Where are the swarm hosts? They're actually coming from behind this army right now. Oh, this game. This game is getting really tense, actually. It could go either way. Imagine a terrible engagement where Targa suddenly loses all his Mutalisks. His Mutas and his swarm hosts have not been together for any engagement, by the way. That's been something we have noticed about Targa's army. He's been constantly keeping them separate, trying to stretch YoDa in as many directions as possible. And to be honest, so far it's earned him a nearly 40 supply lead. So, well, that actually gave YoDa some information. He saw that the Locust basically stopped there, which means that the Swarmers are actually quite far away. But now we've got the Locust over here on the south side, and YoDa wants to avoid that because he doesn't want to spend money resupplying this army right now. So these Swarm hosts, they're basically just doing free damage, and that's a good chunk of Marines there for YoDa that just comfortably get denied. There's no remaking them. He's down to 104 supply versus 137. That command center is at 30 hit points, but there are mules repairing it. Is it going to be enough? Wait, are the mules repairing it? Okay, there we go. They are repairing it now. Needs to drop a couple more there, and he's actually running out of money. He's only got 50 minerals left. Where are the swarm hosts? They're here, still on the edge of creep. This base on the right-hand side has been remade. No drones are mining from it just yet. Income still very low for both players, slightly higher for YoDa right now. And, well, he's going to take apart this base. I mean, that is just the correct decision. There are lots of oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. No, no. Drones. Bad, bad, bad. And he sacrifices a few of them to save something like 4, but this is not a good trade there from Targa. And that was a pretty important move there, because I don't actually think he has that many workers left. It's 13 workers versus 7 in this game, guys, and YoDa has mules, don't forget. So those workers dying there was actually a big deal for Targa. And is he even making... I don't think he can make another hatchery. He can't make another hatchery. His swarm hosts have all been defensive, which is great because he's been winning those engagements. But YoDa's still had the freedom to move around the map because the only thing Targa's attacking with, really, are his Mutalisks. And as a result, Targa's got 36 minerals, guys. He's making 7 creep tumors right now, and that's it. he needs to long distance mine with 16 workers, and that's all he's got. He doesn't have a hatchery available, so all of a sudden YoDa now has an opening in this game. This game can seriously go either way. This is ridiculous. Oh no, 3 more workers going down. That is not what he needs right now, and here are the swarm hosts. Oh no, oh no, we've got Blinding Cloud going down to try and stop this onslaught, but he's stimming forward. The swarm hosts can't get into a position where they can comfortably burrow. Alright, they're doing it now. The Banelings are going to try and cover for them. Here they come. And both sides so unbelievably tense right now. Here come the muted. What on earth are they doing there? They need to be seriously careful with that. And, right, 107 supply. 106 supply. I am not making this up. Neither side is mining an awful lot of anything right now. Both sides are basically not mining minerals. YoDa, he has mules on his side, but he has no bases to mule from. 12 workers to 7 at the moment in favor of TarGa. Trust me, that is not a lot for the 50-minute mark of the game. And TarGa is still... I mean, these mutants have basically still gone unanswered, but they've still not joined up with the army at any points. And TarGa's been losing a couple of other battles while these mutants have been doing excellent work over here. It's just such a dynamic game right now. It's so hard to call. And, well, the mutas aren't going to quite intercept those medevacs. I'm sure he'd love to, but he is going to spot some more structures here and see if he can't take some more of them apart. And YoDa right now, I mean, he's obviously not dead, but he's also definitely not comfortable, and I think that's important to know. Picking off an orbital command is always a great victory at this part of the game. There aren't that many SCVs, making sure those mules are limited are great, but YoDa's now coming through. He's got a decent number of siege tanks here. That's a lot of splash damage potentially against these swarm hosts and these locusts. Let's see if they can pull it off. TarGa now, he's kiting these units back. Oh man, this is going to get tense. He's actually really close to the swarm host right now. He might be able to stim forward and kill some of them. That's what the Banelings are there for. They don't die quite just yet. But man, TarGa needs to be so careful. YoDa is so close to being able to pick off like 5 to 10 swarm hosts, and if he's able to do that, that could be curtains for our Zerg player here. But the mutants are back and defending as well. We've got the swarm hosts and the mutalists and the Banelings. If anything can work, this will. A couple of siege tanks are getting abducted there, but actually at least one of them stays alive, and abducting that means that the swarm hosts were in harm's way for a brief bit. 102 versus 100 supply. This is insane, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely ridiculous right now. 13 swarm hosts remaining on the map for TarGa. These tanks are sieging up on the low ground. We need the units to come in and basically pick off the tanks from behind. Where are the mutas? They could be around here right now to try and keep YoDa's army at bay. Oh goodness, he lost a lot of those Banelings for not very much right there. And I think that could end up being quite costly for him. TarGa coming in from several directions, though. He's not giving up on this yet. Great Baneling connections, actually, basically resetting the fight. 88 versus 77 supply at the moment. The Mutalist now hovering over the Swarm Host. And there's the stim forward. A lot of the Swarm Host now dying. TarGa down to 67 supply. YoDa at 76. And it looks like this momentum is going to work very well in the Terran's favor. He's 20 supply ahead. And these Mutalists, they tried so hard at the front of the battle, but the tanks were at the back. They did so much damage there, and the mutants just weren't able to kill them off. 44 kills, 26 and 69 kills on these siege tanks, guys. They are the MVPs of this army right now, and if YoDa wins this game, not only is it going to be really hard fought, but he is going to be thanking his tank commanders, because that was huge. Unbelievable stuff coming up from YoDa, and he's now moving into the natural expansion. TarGa doesn't have much left. He's 56 supply. He's got the Mutalist, but the Mutalist alone now cannot defeat this without the Swarm House, without the Banelings, without the Zerglings. And I think YoDa's going to feel like he just used a get out of jail free card, man. This is what the Mutants needed to be doing before. That's one tank gone. That wasn't the 69 kill siege tank. That one is here right now. But these guys were basically the A-team. Unfortunately, I feel like it might be a little bit too late here. We've got a couple of swarm hosts left inside the main base. They've got one round left in them. I think he can stim forward with a scan right now and try and pick apart these swarm hosts. By the looks of things, that's what's going to happen in just a second. And unfortunately, TarGa at this point, he is trying to hold on. But advantage is definitely in YoDa's court. Needs to be careful with that siege tank. 70 kills, and finally Commander Siege Tank goes down. 59 supply versus 51. You couldn't make this up. What's the income looking like? Do I want to know? 80 minerals versus 80 gas is basically what it is at the moment. So token amounts of money by everyone. But these Marines are basically unstoppable now. Without the tank support, it looks like they can't quite get into the swarm hosts. But you know what? The swarm host only exists inside the main base at the moment, so he can go and kill off absolutely everything else on the map and still be okay with it. Targa's got a hatchery now. It's over in the top left location. And, well, he's got 3 drones mining from it at the moment. He's going to need an awful lot more than that. And these Mutalisks, oh, actually, they're doing a good job of chasing the medevacs and picking them off. But I think YoDa's just going to be constantly searching for where on earth his opponent might be mining from. If he can deny all that remains here, then he should be okay. He might want to try and land an orbital command there. I tell you what, if YoDa lands an orbital command there and starts mining and drops a whole bunch of mules, that could actually be the end of the game, because he'll start mining a decent amount as well. We've got a drop heading home, of all things, as the Mutalisks come by, so YoDa going to try and defend against this as much as he can. And YoDa really just looking for signs of life. This is a pretty empty Terran base right now. And neither side's 100% sure what the other has, which is why nobody's making any assumptions about who's ahead. Because YoDa's going, hang on a second, Targa, where are you? Targa's going, hang on a second, YoDa, where are you? And the truthful answer is no one really knows anything right now. They're all just trying to slug it out. This has been an absolutely intense slugfest, boxing match of a game. And, oh, needs to be careful with the Mutalisk. One almost goes down, but actually saves every single one. So good reactions coming out of there from Targa. YoDa, well, still at 52 supply, 59 for Targa. We've got 24 3-3 Marines. We have 8 medevacs. And we have a 3-1 tank. But we also have an orbital command here. And this, well, what remains, actually, of the swarm hosts have found this orbital command. So that's obviously going to be a big, big focal point over the next couple of minutes here. These two Mutalisks just still trying to do as much damage as they can, picking off stray Marines, not wanting to deal with groups right now, just making sure YoDa's continuously running around. And these swarm hosts continuing to try and pick away. These medevacs have a lot of energy, though, so they will be able to heal the Marines for a very long time indeed. Well, 61. Oh, needs to be killed. In fact, YoDa's actually got a lot of Marines back here, but that means that there's a chance that, see, if the Mutas sniped off this siege tank, for example, hard to do, but if you do it at the same time Locusts appear there, he might be able to snipe them off and just run away, and then the swarm hosts could actually do the rest of the job as far as that base is concerned. But Targa's just being as dynamic as possible, wanting to take out the production structure, saying, look, I don't think you can afford to rebuild a whole bunch of barracks right now, so how about I go ahead and just put that to the test. Is picking off a couple Marines. Losing one Muta there, doesn't really want to be doing that. Managing to pick off a decent number, though, for his efforts. And, well, more Marines are popping out here, but it looks like one of those barracks is about to go down. In fact, both of them are burning now as well. So, doing a pretty good job of camping out these production structures. YoDa down to 46 supply right now, constantly defending against these swarm houses. It looks like the Marines are trying to stim past, maybe, but it's not going to be enough! YoDa's losing most of his Marines! That could be it, guys. He's down to 29 supply. These swarm hosts might have finally broken YoDa. And he's trying to drop on top of them, but he couldn't. GG! Wow, those Marines going down. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 hour and 26 seconds. Targa advances to the finals of the Go4 SC2 Cup. Incredible stuff here. And TCM's YoDa is knocked out of the tournament.